Happy Thursday. Happy Throwback Thursday. Happy July 3rd, 2025. And for some of you, depending upon where you are on the globe, it is already July the 4th. Always, as I open, give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day. Now, I have been extremely busy these past few weeks and hit another setback, which is the basis for this quick live to update everyone. I saw a couple of comments where my members have said miss you because normally I'm popping around and I'm still popping around, but not as active. I'm working on it. Um, I don't know where to begin other than stating that I was somewhat blindsided by this. I'm going to have to be totally transparent and call it my final battle because this is too much. This is too much. Um, for those of you that have been following me for the last few years, know that I have been fighting an autoimmune disease called lupus. And with that, it can attack one or more organs. I've been fighting with lung issues since 2008. However, I was diagnosed in 1992, so I've had many ups and downs. A few weeks ago, I experienced shingles, which I've heard of, and I would see the commercials and people talking about how painful it was, and I wouldn't think that rashes could give you so much pain. But I tell you, that is something I would not wish on my worst enemy. Um, I had to go back because I just wasn't feeling right, and they told me that with shingles, it's actually a nerve issue that manifests in the form of rashes. And those of you that heard me speak about it, I said, well, luckily for me, it was hidden by a particular part of the anatomy. So I didn't have to worry about it being shown so much. I had a few little bumps on my face, but it left a nasty little patch, um, like I said, on a particular, or underneath, rather, a particular part of the anatomy. And the pain was in the chest area. So, of course, they always want to give you x-rays and things of that nature. Now, normally, when I go and I have shortness of breath, they'll do blood work, of course, and an EKG, of course. And sometimes they'll do a CT scan with contrast where they actually place dye in your IV, and that dye will light up certain areas if there's fluid or other things going on in a certain part of the body. They could not do that this time. And normally, the only reason why they cannot do that, at least in my situation, is if there is something not quite right with your kidney function. Now, my doctor said that there was just a slight change in my function, nothing really to worry about. Last week, I received a call from a nephrologist who actually said something different. And what she told me was, I am in stage 3B kidney disease and that my kidney function was 33%. Now, of course, I knew something wasn't quite right. Again, I thought it was vitamin D, which was low, and just basic things I had been going through, but nothing, nothing prepared me for that. So I was completely blindsided. So she basically went on to say that when people drop to 15 or 10%, that is when they suggest dialysis, and that is like a waiting period for transplants or things like that. But we don't want to put the cart before the horse because if it did get that far, I wouldn't be able to have surgery anyway because my lungs are not strong enough to withstand anesthesia. So that is not even an option. So, of course, I had a lot of questions after I had to pull myself together because, as I said, that blindsided me with everything I went through last year, and still experiencing nightmares sometimes, paranoia where I hear beeping sounds. It may sound silly to some people, but when you experience certain things, it can do something to you emotionally. So if a truck starts to back up, a lot of times they'll beep, or if your fire alarm battery gets um, low, it'll beep. Sometimes if an alarm goes off, I'll jump because I just remember the beeping sounds of when I was in the hospital those 3 weeks. Anyway, um, as I said, I had a lot of questions, but after, as I said, I pulled myself together because I did bawl. I am not going to be disingenuous because I've said, my goodness, what else is next? And I cry like a baby anyway over things, but that one really was like I don't even want to use that analogy. That was just, I'll just say the straw, and I'll leave it at that because I'm already fighting something with a particular individual. So that's taken a lot out of me. And then I've been working many, many, many hours. I mean, I love what I do, don't get me wrong. It's just there's only but so many hours in a day, and I'm not 100% healthy. And obviously, it's a lot less than that. Anyway, my question is, well, was to her, why would you wait so long to let someone know? Now, I know that I had been dehydrated, but the issue here is, and there could be a lot of things we don't know yet, but say my numbers do go up, the damage is still there. And from the research and consultations that I've had, they say that most people, not all, but it depends on age, overall health. Um, Most people stay at 3A or 3B. Some, unfortunately, drop to 4. Some will go to 5. This this is going to be difficult, and it's to the point where I'm just done. They want me to have the test done again in a couple of weeks, and depending upon what the results are, she's talking about a biopsy, and I told her absolutely not. And she asked why, and I basically said, you all, meaning all of the doctors and nurses and specialists that I have seen since 1992, when I was just 22 years old, have poked and prodded and pulled and pushed and invaded every orifice possible. And there was no way I was going to allow that any longer. And to be honest, I question often about what's actually being done. Now, I don't have any proof of anything, but when you have conditions such as mine where there is no cure and they're looking to, and I'll put in quotes, try different things, you feel like you're a guinea pig, something being experimented upon, and I'm not going to allow that. I'm just not. And as I mentioned, it makes no sense why something like that, knowing knowing how important the kidneys are as far as the function of filtering out waste and trying to avoid fluid backup, which can cause so many different things to the body. You would wait so long to let someone know. Now, would it make a huge difference? I don't know, but it could have. It really could have. So we'll see in a couple of weeks what the results are and if they have to change any medications. But biopsy is absolutely not an option. I am not allowing that. And if the inevitable happens as a result of that, then so be it. There are people that, and I don't want to share it with a few folks. Oh, you have to keep fighting. You have to keep fighting. Well, to be honest with you, I have fought. I've been fighting for over 30 years now. And as I mentioned in, I think, one of my last lives, I'm tired. I'm tired. I believe in my heart of hearts that I've done what I was tasked to do. I've done what I have been tasked to do, good, bad, or indifferent. And I do believe that I have motivated some, or perhaps prayerfully given hope to others that have found themselves in certain situations. But I also believe that sometimes full circle comes, and we never know when or in the manner it'll come, but it comes, and you have to accept and enjoy. And that's one thing I can say. I've accomplished more than I thought I would be able to. And I'm proud of all of my achievements. I'm content. I'm not worried. I was a little disappointed, again, as it relates to the delay in relaying such important information. So I will implore all of you under the sound of my voice that when you have your exams and your screenings, that you be proactive and getting the results in a timely fashion. Don't wait for someone to call you. You make that call, and if you don't understand what is being told to you, do not hang up the phone or leave the office until you have a full understanding of what is going on. And then you make the decision for what's best for you and your families. And always, always, always remember to live life with a purpose and with absolutely no regrets. I will be continuing my uploads and lives. I'm not sure how many. I've been in contact with Dr. Newsom, and he doesn't even know this yet because he's been working on a lot of things. Very busy, but we have planned on another spinoff, speaking about court situations and just giving, well, not advice, but just conversations about certain things as it relates to court process and how some things go, and just a good segment, a very good segment. A lot of things that we already know, and some of the things that we're learning now as we go through certain cases. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, that's something that we have been kicking around for a while, but um, we haven't been able to really get things moving right now because, as I mentioned, he has been working on some things um, with his own program. So it's just been a lot. And then work, as I mentioned, has been busy. And then I've had to modify my diet again to incorporate more water and making sure that I stay hydrated and getting more rest. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that, but we shall see. So that is the latest update. And I just wanted to come on really quickly because, as I mentioned, I've seen some comments. I just have not had the opportunity to respond to them, but I'll take some time, the latter part of the weekend, God willing, to do that. For those of you that celebrate and have plans on being out on the roads, please make sure that you exercise caution because I have witnessed a lot of accidents out on the roadways. People are just impatient and extremely selfish, and a lot of selfish drivers out there. And it's unfortunate that um, one person's desire to reach their destination can be the result of someone else not. So take your time, be patient, because the goal is to get to where you're going and to get back safely. Also, there's a lot, I'll just say, in the air. So please continue to practice safe and effective hygiene. I can't stress that enough. There are so many things that are airborne, and you truly don't know the habits of other people. I went to the restroom earlier today, and a woman was on her cell phone, and she literally walked right out the restroom and didn't even stop by to put just a sprinkle of water on her hands. And in 2025, to see that, especially with women, it just, again, those of you that are attending barbecues and cookouts or whatever, you just make sure you have your handy dandy hand sanitizer with you and wipes. And those of you that are comfortable in wearing masks, yeah, I encourage you to do what you feel as though you need to do to protect yourselves. There are a lot of people with all kinds of allergies and congestion. And I mean, when I went, the waiting room was full capacity. And I said, I surely don't need to pick up anything else. So, again, that is my update. And I want to thank all of those who have left comments. Those, and there have been a couple of people that have emailed me as well. So thank you. And most of you know that if you don't see me around much, then more than likely it's something going on. But again, it's my walk, it's my journey. It's been a it's been an interesting one, but it was mine to walk. And until that final step is ordered, I'll continue. So thank you to those that have tuned in. Please, again, always, always, always live life to the fullest. I have not celebrated July 4th in years, but I think that I may just for peace of mind go somewhere just to look at the lights. I love lights. I always have. So I think that's what I'll do. Just go somewhere and look at the lights and meditate. And that'll be that'll be my July 4th again, God willing. So everyone, again, please be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Until next time, bye bye for now.